The holidays typically bring friends and family together who may not often have a chance to see each other. During these get-togethers, changes in a loved one's behavior or cognitive abilities can become frighteningly apparent. How can you recognize the difference between normal aging and a more serious problem? Louise Thompson is with the Alzheimer's Association Greater Indiana chapter, and she joins me now to talk about some of the early warning signs of the disease. Louise, thank you so much for taking the time to come talk with me. And I do want to let our viewers know that we're going to be talking to you at 10 o'clock tonight, too. So we're going to talk a little bit, some of the early signs now, and then we'll give the rest of them later on. So, you know, there's a big difference between, oh, I forgot that phone number, or I forgot to do this, and something that's indicative of a greater problem. What are some of those signs?
Well, we have, the Alzheimer's Association has developed 10 warning signs, and I thought we would go through the first 5 now. And the first one is memory changes that disrupt daily life. Usually it's recently learned things. Changes in the family, forgetting who somebody is, something like that.
I mean, what's the point at which a normal lapse in memory becomes concerning, I guess?
What's normal is maybe forgetting somebody's name, or occasionally, or going into a room and realizing, I don't remember what it is, I went into the room, left, and then you can figure out what it is. These people, they haven't a clue. They try to retrace their steps and they just can't do it.
It's just gone. Okay.
Right.
What's another one of the early signs?
Another one is challenges in planning or solving problems with, like, a holiday get-together and planning a menu, or working on a recipe and getting the steps on the recipe mixed up.
So this is something, and I thought it was interesting that you are specifically highlighting these family get-togethers, because it's true, you know, maybe you don't see Aunt Mary or something during most of the year, but when she comes in, maybe there's an old family recipe you do together, or you typically do the same sort of traditional things every year, and that would be a great opportunity to notice that, you know, she didn't really have it together this time.
Right.
And again, if it's just one of these signs, is that something that is concerning? I mean, at what point do you say,
If you see too many of these 10 signs, that would be cause for concern. I've always had trouble with remembering names, and so I don't particularly worry about that. But if I forgot who my daughter was, or who my grandchild was, I don't have any yet, but something like that.
That would be terrifying, not just for the people around you, but obviously for you, if you notice.
Yes.
Give us another sign.
Another one is difficulty completing familiar tasks. That can be home or work. One that's really common is getting lost while they're driving. It may be a route that they've taken for a long, long time, but they do something different, or they're just having a bad day and they get lost. And that's got to be really, really scary.
And is that something that, I mean, is it something that the person themselves is likely to realize is a problem, or what is the typical reaction, I guess, what I'm thinking, for the individual? If you're driving and you suddenly are not sure where you are, you think you've taken a wrong turn, does it just vary from person to person? One person might be immediately concerned and another is like, nothing.
Yeah, more often they're not concerned about it. They don't see a safety risk factor to the getting lost, or that their reaction time when they're driving is slower, or anything like that. So another huge issue is, you know, driving in somebody with dementia.
Okay, what's another one of those warning signs?
Another one is confusion with time or place, losing track of dates, even seasons, and the passage of time. Another one is forgetting, just suddenly realizing they don't know where they are, they don't know how they got there. It's got to be just so scary for the person with the disease.
And finally, what's our fifth thing?
The fifth one is trouble understanding visual images or spatial relationships. That's a tongue twister. But problems with vision, they have trouble with depth perception, they have trouble with color and contrast.
And that's a tough one, because as people age, their eyesight, you know,
Right.
different things might affect their ability to see, and so that's going to change things anyway.
Right.
You just have to recognize what's a physical problem, what's a cognitive problem.
Right. Whether
Louise,
it's
right.
cataracts or glaucoma or something like that.
I want to thank you so much for coming in.
Thank
Again, I
you
want to
so
remind our
much.
viewers that Louise is going to be back here at 10 o'clock, and she's going to show us the other 5 early warning signs of Alzheimer's.